So when we look at Mark, right, we got a jiu-jitsu athlete, middle age, and we know that we do have to train some level of absolute strength. But you have knee issues, spine issues, prior surgeries, degeneration. So like that fact is telling us that he needs tissue-based training at those levels, right? It also needs that he needs expanded space of that extremity, et cetera. So we know that we would have to the training, as soon as you start to create multiple days or whatever it is, you created a hierarchy. Something has to be number one on that hierarchy. What would be number one on that hierarchy? It would be knee, it would be that lower extremity, it would be that lumbar spine. You would do all the programming for that lumbar spine. After you see what type of work he needs, the frequency at which he needs that work, then what you would do is if there's anything left, you would go, okay, where are we going to fit absolute strength in? Absolute strength would then go up to the upper body, but it would be actually number 3 on that chart. You would still be systematically training it, but it's not of importance, right? Then what would happen is once you start to get indicators, what are indicators? Okay, hey, we got increase of hip joint workspace. We got increase of knee joint workspace, ankle joint workspace. We know the internal system is starting to expand. Okay, now maybe what we can do is we can lower that training in the frequency. And if he wants to push absolute strength, we still push absolute strength, but in the upper body. You see, you push that absolute strength until you hit a combination, you put the pin in, you continue to train that, you go right back into the knee. Now maybe because you built tissue, you want to change how that tissue behaves, load bearing capacity, except stuff like this. But that's how the model is designed to be used.
And now you have the neural drive capacity with which to build those things.
Right. So yeah. So that's the key indicator, right? Or that's the key point that we have to really articulate is one, the absolute strength that we're building. We're trying to have the nervous system compress in a very short period of time, right? The ability to generate a large magnitude of force, because once it starts to have that capacity, what we're going to do is we're going to take that capacity and we're going to drive it into the knee. We're going to drive it into the low back. That's what we're doing. We're recycling. We don't give a fuck about how much absolute strength he is. Once he gets to a certain level, we just know the nervous system must be able to train that, must be able to maintain that capacity so that then we can funnel it into the internal strength model. Because I think to fully understand this, we have to have the context of the individual. As soon as you get the context of the individual, now you can, like, it immediately shows you what it needs. And what the majority of people, because I still practice, in regards, like immediately you see everybody needs what? Joint and tissue.
Yes.
Which immediately push you right into the internal model, which means that those are getting put to the top. The external stuff, which is exercise, not training, gets moved to the bottom, drastically reduced so that you can put this volume in. And then that volume, the internal stuff, on the back end, that it is acquiring the tissue-based stuff. Why? Because of the maxims of strength and how the training work is constrained into those specific tissues, joint, muscle tissue, connective tissue, to start to acquire that. And then that's why you need accumulation phase with that, for sure. So, but that's again the beauty of the internal model, right? You need accumulation. Well, think about it. If we wanted to, we could take 3-4 weeks, pull Mark from external training, right? Know that we will lose a little bit, but it'll be minuscule and non-noticeable, right? And then be able to use all of that frequency into the internal model. Then we can use the internal model and then lower the volume, then increase the external back end.